Hello friends, let's take a look around the property and see what I'm growing that's gone kind of wild. Things that I'm growing wild on purpose, stumps I'm leaving with a purpose, some things that are growing very vigorously, some regrets that I have, and a few things I'm going to pot up. If you want to skip to some content that you're interested in, check the chapter segments below, and you're welcome to skip to the pieces of the content that you're interested in. This is Aubrey, this is Crybaby Sentimental Homestead, and I hope you enjoy this walk around my garden. I thought, oh no, the ginger mint's almost all gone except for that one little bit right there. And then I turned it upside down. There we go. That will get transplanted, but look at that. It looked like it was dead, except for one little piece right there that's green. But there's more coming out the bottom. This is the ginger mint. Someone gave me this pot as a gift, and I purchased these ranunculus flowers. There's actually more than one plant in the pot. I think there's 3, and I think it was like $9. Yeah, so it's kind of like I paid $3 per plant if I separate them, which I will. Whoa, whoopsies. I'm actually getting 4 plants out of that one. That was just one right here. And then I've got, that's 2, 3, 4. Here's the second ranunculus transplanted into its own pot. I saved these Medlar fruits outside, and so they've already cold stratified, and now I'm going to take out the seeds. I tore apart that fruit. It's kind of foamy now. The fruit's kind of foamy, and I kind of scratched with my fingernails. And this is the seed, but it's still kind of coated a little bit in the fruit. It's kind of stinky now. But I'm going to, there's 5 seeds in that one. And I'm going to go ahead and open up the other ones. So far I've been getting 5 out of each one. That's what it looks like up close. So I'm going to soak these just a little bit.
So I'm just going to soak them. And then after they've soaked for about a day, I'm going to plant them in this same container, but with some coco coir. So I'm going to let them soak, kind of loosen up that outer shell of the seed. And then I'm going to put the coco coir in here. I'll take them out and put them back in. So, yeah. I was getting anxious about these chestnut tree greenhouses I have with the little bags. So I pulled back some of the coco coir, and you can see it's growing. So I'm going to put it back over it and seal it back up. And look at the willow cuttings that are growing so nice. Let's see if I can. I didn't put any rooting hormones on these at all. Look at that. You can see, well, it's trying to grow new growth, but you can also see the root nodules. And this one shows you that even better. Look at that. So this is a contorted willow that I got for free because someone pruned their trees. Let's see a skinnier piece. The thicker pieces seem to be rooting faster, but it's still alive. It's still growing. The small ones are still growing. The roots just are more apparent on the thicker pieces. But it's working. It's successful.
So I was cleaning around the fig tree and I saw this branch that was hanging down. And look, it's rooting right there. So all these little suckers that are coming off of here are going to be individual trees. I'll just snip them off. And now I have a new tree right there. I really should have divided up my rhubarb crowns. I might do that another day. But there's really a lot in here. So you want to divide them before they start putting off all this new growth. But that is actually looking really beautiful. Remember with rhubarb, only the stems are edible, the leaves are not. So, and this plant has gone to seed before, and those seeds I have planted and gotten new plants from them. So usually you divide the crown, that's how you propagate it. But some rhubarb will put off seeds, and this is a really great plant that has done that in the past. So I have lots of rhubarb plants from this parent. Some of them are clones and some of them are individual plants that I've gotten from seed. So that needs work. That's a lot of rhubarb for it's a really big container, but for that space it needs to be divided. I'm not weeding these out because I like to pick some flowers, some dandelion flowers and some dandelion greens for our chickens, our hens. They love them. So I let the bees pollinate and do their thing. And when they start to curl up a little bit, that's when I pick the flower tops to give to my chickens so I don't have dandelions going too crazy. But I have them all over the property. I'm sure my neighbors don't love me, but it feeds the birds. It feeds the bees. And then I also do use the roots sometimes to make, it's kind of like a coffee substitute, kind of like a tea. It's really healthy. So, yeah, so those are dandelions and they're everywhere. I also grow pink and white dandelion. You see those holes right there in that stump? It's a really tall stump. Those holes are why you should leave dead wood on your property. So that tree actually was uprooted during a windstorm, and I told my husband, leave it there. And you can see the holes where the woodpeckers have been busy, and they have actually nested in both of our large stumps. So if you're taking out a tree and you have a stump, if it's really tall, you might consider leaving it so that the birds have somewhere to peck and to have nests. So yes, we have wood. It looks kind of weird, but also I think it looks kind of awesome. So there's another one over there. And there are woodpecker holes on both of those stumps, which is really wonderful for wildlife. This cherry tree here, this mature cherry tree, was here when we moved in, but it was much, much smaller. And one year, I asked my husband to trim it, and he went a little aggressive and really butchered it. It looks really ugly without the foliage, but when it's in bloom, it does look quite charming, and it produces delicious cherries. But cherries are very prone to fruit fly, and so I'm going to be making up fruit fly traps in the near future. I'll show you how to do that. I've also made them before. If you want to see some of my other videos, I'll put a link in the description and in the comment box so you can see how I make those traps, and they are very effective. Now, a tree this size is going to attract a lot of fruit flies, so you would need a lot of traps, and you also would want them out before you have any fruit. So I'm gonna start soon because right now I just have flowers, but I don't want any chance of having fruit fly maggots in my fruit because that's just gross. To know if you have fruit fly larvae in your fruit, take a handful of your ripe cherries, put them in a glass of water, and wait about an hour. And if you have fruit fly maggots, they will start popping out of the fruit. It's really disgusting. But if you don't want that to happen in the first place, you want to set traps. You need to break the life cycle of those fruit flies, and it might take a few seasons before that happens. So, I mean, you still can eat the fruit, but it might not be very appetizing. A little extra fruit protein, I guess. And then there's another fruit tree. That cherry tree there, that really tall one, that does not produce, I don't know if it's a sucker or if it's a wild cherry tree, but it has really beautiful looking wood, and it had like 2 really strong stems. So my husband started to prune it out and was going to get rid of it, and I said, please don't leave it there for the wildlife, because one morning when my youngest son was very little, I came outside and I saw 2 raccoons up in that tree. Now, there are raccoons here all the time. There's nothing to do to get rid of them. It's not like, you know, in an urban environment, they're going to either be digging through your trash can unless they have some kind of food. That tree there, I let the raccoons do whatever they want. So when I look up the tree, there were 2 baby raccoons, and it was the most adorable thing you ever saw, because one of the raccoons picked a cherry and leaned down and passed it to its sibling and was sharing the fruit it was picking. It was the most precious thing ever, and it really gave me a respect for that organism, that they have a place here. They are native to this country, this part of the world, and so I know a lot of people are really frustrated with raccoons, but as long as I keep them away from my hens. It is sad sometimes because I will find bird nests that have been eaten, but I'm doing a better job of providing wild spaces for birds to lay their nests so that they can hide them from raccoons. And then the raccoons have tons of fruit on that tree that they can have as much as they want. And then of course on my unfortunately I thought, well, I guess it doesn't really matter, but at the very top of the tree where I can't get any of the fruit, the crows and other birds, bluebirds, all kinds of birds will come and get the fruit from the very top where I can't get to it. And actually last summer I had a video, I think it called it like Cujo the squirrel or something. I'll try to link that in the video too. There were squirrels up in this tree. They were literally throwing rotten cherries at me. It was like something out of a cartoon. They were literally throwing rotten cherries at my head. So that was really funny. They're lucky I have a sense of humor. And then there's a tree here that has actually a split crown. It is the weirdest tree. It has a split crown. And, you know, I'm sure a lot of people would want to take that down, but right now it's alive and it's full of life. It has so many different species of birds living in that tree. Every day I see birds flocking up into it. So it's going to stay there as long as it's alive. And it's providing a wonderful habitat. And I've seen all sorts of species of birds up in that tree. So I'm really trying to keep things as wild as possible. And then that right there, that laurel, that's an ornamental laurel. That started off as a tiny little shrub, and it's gotten quite big. I use the understory of it for like a little nursery area to keep things that are a little sensitive to the sunlight, brand new plants, things I'm trying to harden off, clones I'm trying to protect from sunburn and sun scald. I love it. And then the flowers from that plant on hot summer days, it's like it almost smells like jasmine on a really hot summer day. You almost don't smell it at all unless it's really hot. And in the evening, it just smells incredible. And the bumblebees go crazy over those flowers. A lot of people are really critical of having ornamental laurels, but the birds don't really spread the seeds. Any of the seeds just drop down right below it. So I don't find it to be invasive at all. There are lots of little seedlings, but they're like directly right below the plant. So if you don't want them, then you get rid of them. But I do like them, and so you can train them to be like a hedge. So that is a really wonderful plant to have. It's evergreen, so when everything else is really ugly, that still looks really nice. So looking forward to tons of fruit on that cherry tree. Look how gorgeous that is. Tons and tons and tons of flowers. So that's exciting. And then lots of food for the wildlife. I love that. Here are some lovely ranunculus. And right next to that, I have red flowering currants. And the hummingbirds absolutely love them. It may not be Country Living magazine or Martha Stewart, but it's mine. And one of the things I love about gardening is that it can be whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it's going to be beautiful. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget, be good, be sweet, and grow a garden if you want to eat. I'll see you next time. I forgot to mention, if you've seen a few of my videos and you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button right now. Make sure you're part of the community, everybody. It's like a little club, right? You want to see my other videos, and I want to know that you're part of it. All right, everybody. God bless you, and don't forget to comment. What are you growing now? Has anything I've done today stumped you? All right, bye.